I would like to introduce Dr. Khalid Jamal. So he is the first representative of Portugal here, not the last. Dr. Jamal is senior advisor to the president of the Lisbon Muslim community. You are graduated from Catholic University of Portugal and Harvard Business School. You served in the permanent mission of Portugal in the United Nations, being a member of a team of Secretary General Guterres at this time. You participate each week in the radio program, which is very interesting, named "And God Created the World." You are also member of Commission of Journalism and Religious Traditions, which was founded in Rome with the purpose of promoting excellence in religious communications. So we would be very interested to hear from you, and especially maybe several words about Portugal.
Thank you very much. Honorable Moderator, Your Excellencies, the distinguished representatives of all the organizations present here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I had the initiative to start with this greeting that the majority of you might know, that means may the peace and the blessings of God be upon you. I said this that belongs to my universe of practice, but I could also say shalom to my dear Jew brothers, or pax vobiscum for the Catholic or the Christians. Allow me to start with this greeting in a world that desperately needs peace. Using the 5 minutes that they granted me, so I have 2 more extra than you, I assume, I would like to share with all of you one of my inventions or creations, if you allow me, that somehow resume my work and personal experience for over a decade of dialogue in several forums, from the high-level meetings that are very necessary and important, and the public sphere, until the most intimate and common ground that probably all of us feel much more comfortable with. This is a recipe, even though I'm not a chef, allow me to use this metaphor, containing 11 precious and whole ingredients to enhance and stimulate an ideal formula for the religious and interfaith dialogue that represents itself an experiment of a dialogue between a Jewish, a Christian, and a Muslim. We are doing this for the last couple of years, as you mentioned, in the national radio, and now I have a second program that is just 1.5 minutes in a daily basis in the national radio, and is heard around 300,000 people in an average on a daily basis. We started without any special pretension, just with the vague wish that everything eventually would go well, and went, thank God. And here we are after several years of a compassionate and, allow me to say, mild and gentle conversation, respecting each other. I like to call them my brothers from another mothers, since we have the same father, Abraham. So starting with the ingredients, the first ingredient, the dialogue is between devotees. We don't just accept the existence of God and believe that He acts in the history of the humanity, but each one of us somehow search to open himself to the personal relationship with God. If on the contrary, this would be just a dialogue between people who within their religion simply would find out festivities, rites, traditions, and customs, but they would not search the encounter with a real God, a live God that talks with us, in that case, that dialogue would be at best ethnographic, sociological, but not religious. Second, each one of us should assume without any fear or shy his own identity. A dialogue that doesn't start from the honesty, it's a useless fiction. It would be a game of not fake news, but probably fake views, To be able to dialogue, I must delve deeper into what I believe, why I do believe, in order to construct and to share and expose in a reliable and intelligible way my faith. Third, I can't use a language that only my faith can understand. The meaning and the sense of the words is given by those who hear me and not by those who say the words. I cannot assume that the expressions that are belonging to the universe of Islam, of my own religious universe, are clear and compatible to my colleagues and much less to the listener. Fourth, the goal of dialogue is the dialogue itself, not consensus. Blurring personal convictions just to please, to not disappoint, or reach an illusory agreement would be betraying my own faith and each one of our faiths. The dialogue and is respecting the others. That said, the best result of a conversation is not the approximation of the ideas, but to get people closer. Fifth, dialogue requires us to not omit difficult topics. Even though Jews, Christians, and Muslims have some common ideas, a common background, not a few different ideas, and not a few incompatible ideas. Dialogue demands being willing to listen, a proper listen, all of them with the same interest. Sixth, in dialogue I must be interested, this is hard, in the best argument of the others, not the worst. It is tempting to compare the good or strong arguments that I have that support my conviction with the weaker arguments of the others that support or compromise the conviction of the others. It's tempting, but it's not a honest exercise. The seventh, clarity is compatible with kindness. It's quite common the mistake of thinking that the defense of the truth is more honorable if I'm more angry and if I shout. It would be wrong and eventually counterproductive. The truth is like a precious stone. It fascinates when we leave it delicately in the hands of the other, like a diamond, but it can hurt and seriously injures if we throw it to someone's face. The eighth, sympathy for the others is the halfway to understand them. I do believe that this one is particularly emphasized in our radio program. We are allowed to contradict each other if we have the perception of sympathy, without which there is no possible understanding. In the interfaith dialogue, the good humor and the sympathy, it's some sort of turbo engine of the intelligence. Voltaire used to say, as all of you know, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say. And luckily we live in a democratic world with the freedom of expression, sometimes with the religious freedom. I hope all the world would have this religious freedom, and this is very important to stress out. The ninth one, esteem for the others is essential for them to wish to improve. Maybe we saw someone improving considerably just due to someone trust. To do this is crucial to invest and to believe in the great and the good that each one of us have inside ourselves. An incentive to solidify this feeling, such a greatness that we believe as believers that God gave us. The tenth, in the interreligious dialogue, there is the inevitably question of truth. The religions are useless and doesn't serve us if they are just human constructions. Well-intentioned attempts to talk about God with our own resources. So if that would proceed eventually, the religion would be the place where the human is, not the place where God reveals himself. We all take and see our religions to be truth, but the fact is they cannot be true in all their statements, which are often dissonant or contradictory to each other. These divergences cannot be solved with a rhetoric or my persuasive, argumentative power, and even less with violence, but with greater interior openness to different horizons and to God. We understand that God is the one who guides us and enlightens and indicates the path in which humans should walk. And the good news is, at any moment, we can ask Him to intervene and to not leave us in the misleading interpretation. And last but not least, in the social media, we often see several conversations about religion, but we doubt that is the right environment to talk about the subject. Actually, the situation was raised here about the social media, that all of you know that it's very difficult to talk about religion in that sphere, particularly considering the characteristics and the features that the social media has herself. The religion-free zone has allowed me to publicly speak about my religion and about my conviction. It seems obvious, but it's not. In fact, there are many proposals to silence the religion's dialogue in a public sphere or spectrum under the false argument of offending those who have not religion or those who do not practice that faith. It is not true that each time that someone publicly defends an idea are necessarily offending all those who does not agree with such idea. I would like to conclude, and obviously I have some other remarks, but I would let for a second round. My final remark is the 11th and the last ingredient that says, if we don't dialogue over religion, we will end up fighting over religion. Thank you very much.